Okay, everybody ready? If you have, we all have the same volume. Mine is page 20. We're in the middle of the Hakdama. In the middle of Hakdama of Rabbi Itzele Volozhin, son of Reb Chaim Volozhin, who was describing the essence of Reb Chaim Volozhin in a way that I'm finding like every sentence is another limud. I spending a lot of time on Hakdama, but it's just a shame not to learn about it. So, Od miderech ha'anova ha'amitis speaks about the anivos of Reb Chaim Volozhin. Anova. So, anova, we usually translate anova as being humble, humility. But anova is a little bit more than that. It's not just that I'm a humble person. Oh, I didn't do anything. It was nothing. That's part of it. That's maybe the articulation of being humble. But anova is actually a certain relationship to the world and a certain understanding of our position in the world. Where a person, we say, I'm humbled by a certain phenomenon. You see a nest, you see you look at something, the Grand Canyon. I'm humbled by the Grand Canyon. It's like sometimes something happens in life where you realize what your small piece is in the Bria. So you could be humbled by a natural phenomenon. You could be humbled by a great person. You could be humbled by Torah. So the idea is not that I'm humble. Oh, I'm nothing. It was not garnished. The humbleness is sort of this what could be pleasant or unpleasant recognition of where I actually stand in the whole scheme of things. That's the humble part of it. This is Moshe Rabbeinu was an Anav Mikol Adam, and what we've been learning here about Anav is that it's Moshe Rabbeinu was an Anav Mikol Adam as he understood that he was the salt of the earth. He was on a very base level, and his question to HaKadosh Baruch Hu by the burning bush was Mi Anochi Ke'elech Parei. Here you need something that's like more, not so earthy. And the answer ultimately was, HaKadosh Baruch Hu said that it's the anivus, which is the reason that I'm picking you, because it's where I want to be, Hashem says, and I'm just paraphrasing what we learned, where I want to be is in the nicks and crannies of the world. That's where I want to be. I didn't create the world for somebody to leave the world and stand on a mountaintop, try to get as high as you can, and on top of Mount Everest and meditate. That's not what I created the whole thing for. What I created the whole thing for is to be, like, as we're learning in these parshas, to the lahashrei shchinasei b'tachtonim, tachtonim. I mean, not just tachas but tachtonim, as low as you can get. So the lower that Moshe Rabbeinu made himself, the more of a candidate he was to go to Paro. And if you look, as I pointed out, the Hashem's answer to Moshe Rabbeinu was that what you are is perfect. And I'm going to go with you. Meaning, once you make room, your anivus is making room for me. Once you're making room for me, now this is how I'm getting into Paro. So not that Hashem says to Moshe, I'll get you into Paro, not to worry. You're getting me into Paro. And much lower than Moshe, obviously, was Mitzrayim himself. And the Memtesh Shari Tumah, which is where Moshe Rabbeinu, where Hashem wanted to be, and he wanted Moshe Rabbeinu to take him there. And I would even take it further, just before we go away from this concept, that Lagufa Kasha, why did Hashem allow the Jewish people to descend through the 49 Memtes Shari Tuma. Like, why? Why? Doesn't he care about us? Why would he let us fall so low? Ad Kedei Kach, where we say that, the Haggadah, we say that Baruch HaMakom Shakadosh Baruch Hu Chishev Esaketz. Hakadosh Baruch Hu caught us right in time. That's the pshat. Caught us right in time because there's only 50. There's only 50. So if we would have gone from 49 to 50, we would have lost. We would have assimilated Lagamri into the Egyptian culture. You can look out today and see what that means. You got to catch a Jew just before you lose him entirely. You lose him for all generations. It's not a temporary thing. Why? So why did Hashem allow us to go down all the way to the Memtes Shari Tuma? And the answer to that is because that's b'diuk where Hashem wants to be. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to the is liyos leidira b'tachtonim. It's not just in the Mishkan or in the Beis Hamikdash, but in the Memtes Shari Tuma of Mitzrayim. That's where Hashem wants to be, because from there, from that means Hashem is total malchus. He's completely permeating the world. Now this is words which are very difficult to understand, but I just want to why would Hashem want to be in a Malkum Tameh? But I just want to explain a little bit Lefi Mach Erchi that sometimes we've all been down and out here and there, some more than others, some all the time. But there's something very true and very real and very emes about being in a very low place. Like when we fall, it's a humbling experience, humbling, and the humblingness of the experience puts us in a place of a new type of reality. Like it's a very, very real thing. Again, I think everybody's been through. I don't know anybody yet. I haven't met anybody who's sort of putter from having difficult times in life. Everybody goes through something at some point or another. Some worse, some better, but everybody goes through something. And you find that, like, if a person hits a low and you're davening from that low, it's a certain kind of davening. Tefillah l'ali, kiyata. It's a certain type of davening that an ali has. And it could be ad kedei kach that if Hashem helps you and you rise above that adiyus, you actually miss that place, because there's a certain relationship that you can have as an ani with HaKadosh Baruch Hu that you don't have as balabais, as sar liftei hamelach. There's a certain something there. So there's that humbleness, that Memtes Shari Tuma, if you will, think of the word depression. I'm not advocating that we should all go off our antidepressants or whatever. That's what I'm saying. That's a good thing. But what I am saying is that there is a certain grungy reality in the place where you hit ground. And that was the snad, that was Har Sinai, that was Kadosh Baruch Hu goes into that place. That was the Memtes Shari Tuma of Mitzrayim. But Klal Yisrael came to a certain emes, and I mentioned, I don't want to go through it again because I want to go further, but Rav Dessler on Chelek Aleph, page 101, points out that the two biggest giluyim, the two biggest revelations that happened to the Jewish people was Har Sinai and Yecheskel's Ma'aser Merkava. And Rav Dessler points out from Chazal that the Ma'aser Merkava was a bigger Gilui than Har Sinai, in the sense that it wasn't just about mitzvahs and Torah. We really saw the whole thing. Yecheskel. Both of them came. One came on the heels of Mitzrayim, and one came on the heels of Golos Bavel, or at the beginning of Golos Bavel. So it's only in that low situation, coming from the Memtes Shari Tuma of Yetzias Mitzrayim, the same people that are going to start complaining we don't like the food out here in the desert, and where's the fish in Mitzrayim, which just shows you how grungy they were at that point. These were survivors that were used to fighting for their base existence, and they're the ones that had the Gilui of Har Sinai. And it was the same thing by the Golos Bavel, that it was after we lost our homes and our family and our businesses and our homeland, and we're out. That's where we had a Gilui of the Ma'aser Merkava, All of Soid, all of Kabbalah is based on a Gilui, which could have happened all through the years of the Beis HaMikdash. Have a Ma'aser Merkava, it should have been a regular type of a nevuah. It had to come from that place of emes. So what I'm trying to bring out here is that there's a place of truth. There's a place of truth, and that place is a low place. It's not a high place. And then you can take that place of truth and not lose it. So it's some place which is nobody wants, lo yaleinu, but it's a place to grow from. It's a place to grow from. The Reb Chaim Volozhin says in Pirkei Avos that anybody who has the anivus of Moshe Rabbeinu, and let's understand anivus now in this new light, can have the Torah of Moshe Rabbeinu. You have a potential there because you're wide open. You're wide open. You know, like just giving you a mashal, like when you're trying to influence somebody. Let's say you're in Kiruv, or you're trying to influence somebody. When they're all full of themselves, there's nobody to talk to. Meretz and Vat. I mean, there's nothing to talk to. It's only, when a person bottoms out, that a person realizes that a person is open to the emes. So it's as long as you're filled with gaiva, so that's a klipa. Gaiva is the thickest klipa that can possibly. There's no way to reach somebody. How do you reach that person? But tefillah la'ani kiyato, a person's wide open when they're aniyus, and that's a very holy place to be. HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves the leiv nishbar. He loves the leiv nishbar. That's the place. So then he says, Od midarech hanova hamitis, another area of anivus, which he said I could learn from my father, is shiyu kol inyanei haguf nivze v'nimas be'einav be'emes. Now, all of us have inyanei haguf and inyanei haneshama. There's our inyanei haguf, I've got an itch, I'm hungry, tired, don't feel good. Yanei haguf, I need more, I want more, I'm uncomfortable, need a better car. So that's in Yanei haguf. In Yanei haneshama is Yanei of how you're feeling spiritually. Derech ha'anava, anava, is you call in Yanei haguf nivze v'nimas be'einav be'emes. That the inyanim of the guf were unimportant. Ad shelaefes v'toyu yichashvu, until it became nothing. Mibli lahargish lo yoinig v'lo nega. Now, I want to just dwell here for a second. There's this madrega of mibli lahargish that one doesn't feel lo yoinig v'lo nega. Oinig means pleasure. Nega means affliction. Oneg, this is the source is the sefer Yitzere, early Chazal, that talk about all the letters of the Aleph Beis, the Chav Beis letters of the Aleph Beis. It says that the highest level of pleasure is called Oneg Shabbos, right? Oneg. Simcha, there's a lot of things you can have, but Oneg is the highest level of pleasure, and the lowest level of displeasure is Nega. Nega is, like Archikim Oisei Min HaMachane, like by Parshas Tazria, versus B'Negat Saras. He goes out of Gimel Bachalos. So Zohar says he's in a Gimel Klipas Hatzbeis, like he's out, Chutz L'Bachana. What's about loneliness? Is there anything worse? There's no bigger nega than doima l'meis. Saras doim mitzayir doima l'meis. Not part of the world any longer. But the Sefer Yitzira, early Chazal, some say even Avraham Avinu wrote that it's important to look at the components of the oneg and nega, the letters of the same letters. Ayin, nun, gimel, nega, nun, gimel, ayin. Oneg and nega, which are opposites, are the same letters. And the Welt likes to say that there's no difference between an oneg and a nega except for where you put the ayin, meaning like how you look at it. I think, okay, meaning Koban David Rachmana L'Tava. there's a deeper thing here of what he writes over here. Bibli lahargish lo yoileg v'lo nega. Rosh Yeshiva Volozhin, Reb Chaim's son. His father wasn't b'chalak between oleg and nega. And there's a certain madrega where it's all the same thing. It's all the same thing, oleg nega. So what is that? So I just want to explain a little bit. If there's a little bit of a tangent. In Bereshis, so Park Bays and Bereshis. So the Torah elaborates after it talks about the Sheshis Yemei Bereshis, talks about Gan Eden and describes for us Gan Eden. We don't know where Gan Eden is. In this world someplace is Gan Eden. And he says, Eid Yala min haaretz v'hishas kol pnei adam v'yitzar Hashem Elokim es ha'adam ba'ofer min ha'adama v'yipach ba'apav nishmas chayim. God created man v'yadam Nefesh Hachaim. This is Eila told the Shemayim Haaretz, a summary of what we learned. V'yita Hashem Elokim gan be'eden mikedem. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu planted a gan. V'yita Hashem Elokim gan be'eden. So it's actually like Eden is a region or a place on this world, Eden. And Hashem planted a gan there, so it's not Gan Eden, it's really Gan Be'eden, right? Vayosem sham es ha'adam asher yotzar. And he said to man, this is where you live. This is your makom. Vayosem sham es ha'adam asher yotzar. Vayatzvach Hashem Elokim, so Hashem created man, presumably somewhere else, because it says, he put him there. So he created him, he blew into his nostrils and created a man. And then he created, this is the order of events, he created a gan be'eden mikadem. Vayosem sham es ha'adam asher yotzar. Vayatzmach Hashem Elokim min ha'adama kol eitz nechmad. And there in the garden, Hashem caused to grow kol eitz nechmad lamar v'toiv l'machol. Wonderful trees, beautiful fruit. Also, ve'etz ha'chaim b'toich hagan. There was also etz ha'chaim, ve'etz hadas, toiv hara. So there's all these beautiful trees, apple trees, orange trees, things that we never heard of maybe, in the gan. And then there was the etz hadas and the etz ha'chaim. Chazal, I believe, is that the each one of these trees was echad mimeya me'ilonei shebegan. It was one 100th. There was 100 different, not even trees, species. And one of them was Eitz Hadas, one of them was the Eitz Hachaim. Then the Torah says, so here's the situation of Gan Eden. And man, this is my home. This is my home. Gan Eden. It's hard to imagine. Like, how do you imagine this? Oka? Like, how do you, a lot? Like, like, how do you imagine this? And here's these trees.
Beit Shemesh.
The Nohar Yotze Me'eten Lahashkes Es Hagan. This is really the puzzle that I want to learn here. The Nohar Yotze Me'eten Lahashkes Es Hagan. A river came forth from Eden, and that's what watered the Gan. Because a few psukim early, we said we needed rain. B'terem yitzmach, right? It didn't rain until Adam Rishon davened for that rain, Rashi says. But here, this is a different story. The Gan Eden was nourished by a river that flowed into the Gan from where? Eden. So again, you see that here's the Gan. Let's get our geography good. Here's the Gan from Eden, and someplace from Eden there was a Nahar. And this river came from Eden and flowed into the Gan. And that's how the Gan was nourished and became this beautiful, beautiful Gan, quickly. Umisham Yiparei, and then the river would also leave Gan Eden. So this is not just like a beautiful place, actually, this beautiful river, Nahar Eden, going through it. And then it would leave, Umisham Yiparei, V'hayala Arba Rashim. But from there it would turn into 4 rivers. Shema Echad Pishain, who Asayim is called Achavila, Shesham Hazav, and names the 4 rivers. This, by the way, we do know where it is pretty much. This is the Tigris of the Euphrates, it's up there in the Iraq region. That's where Avram Avinu Mesopotamia, right? Mesopotamia is where the rivers split. Mesopotamia, so these, that's where they split the Tigris and the Euphrates. That's all after Gan Eden. If you want to look for a clue for where if you want to do a search for Gan Eden, so you're not going to find it in Eretz Yisrael. You're going to find it in Mesopotamia. That's where you're going to find it. You see what I'm saying? Mesopotamia means the split of the rivers. That's what. So this is this Nahar that comes from Gan. So the way the river flows is it comes from Eden, then it goes through the Gan Lahashkois, and then it goes into it splits. Tigris, Euphrates, Hidekel, etc. More different. And that's a very fertile area, beautiful area. If you look at the travels of Avram Avinu, he from Haran, so he traveled along this river for obvious reasons. One travels along the river. You don't travel through the desert, you travel along the river, and that's where he found all the people as Nefesh Hachaim and took him all the way to Turkey. And from there, Hashem said, Lech Lecha, and he came to Eretz Yisrael. That's we just finished almost all of Sefer Bereshis. Chazal, this is Gemara. This is Gemara everybody learned because it's a brachos. So Gemara says at the end of Einoimton, right before Kates and Mevarachin, Gemara says, Amar Reish Lakish.
Sorry, what that?
Lamed Daled Amud Beis. Amar Reish Lakish, and then some say it wasn't Reish Lakish, it says it was Reb Shmuel bar Nachmani. Amar Zu Eden. What's Eden? Where is that? Zu Eden, he says, from that we say the pasuk, Lairasa ayin mi'olam. The pasuk says ayin lairasa lakim zelasecha. That there are some things that nobody knows what it looks like. Only Hashem has seen it. And the Gemara says that's talking about olam haba. Bottom line is nobody knows exactly what it looks like. Ayin lairasa lakim zelasecha. Nobody alive knows exactly what we're imagining. We have Chazal, we have tradition, but we don't know what it looks like. And the same thing is in this world. Gan Eden, but not Gan Eden, but Eden. So Eden, says Reish Lakish, how he learned the pasuk. Eden loirasa ayin mi'olam. No human being, meaning even Adam Arishan, didn't see Eden. Who saw Eden? He layasam Adam b'toich hagam. So he was B'teicha God. So he was B'teicha God. He didn't see the source of the river. So that was Ayin Lairasa. V'tema, maybe you want to tell me, Adam Arishan, Heichad Hayadar. What do you mean? Nobody saw it. Adam Arishan saw it. Says Esreish Lakish, Heichad Hayadar, Bagan. He lived in the Gan. V'shem Timer, maybe you want to tell me Gan Ze Eden. Gan Eden, no, isn't that what we say? Gan Ze Eden, that's what we all think. Talmaloymar v'nahar yotze mi Eden lahashkois es Gan. Gan l'chud Eden l'chud. So the Gan is one thing, and the Eden is another thing. So again, Rish Lakish points out that the Eden is the part that nobody saw, ever. The Nahar is the river coming from Eden into the Gan. And then there's the Gan, that's where Adam Arishan lived. So Chazal, the Zohar, tells us, Nahar Yotze Me'eden Lahashka Es Hagan. That Eden is the source. It starts with Ayin. And from the Eden goes through the Nun, the Nahar, and it goes to where? To the Gan. So that's Oneg. Makor, it's not it's not Hasidic word, it's a Zohar. For Zohar. So, let's understand Oneg, And to say something bepashtus, it's Eden nobody sees, that's the ayin. Nun is the river, and Gimel is the Gan. before you show the pasuk. Lahar yotze be'edin lahashkos es hagan. Oneg. And what's nega?
The river flowing backwards.
Yeah. So nega, like the nahar, instead of going from Eden to the Gan, it's going from the Gan to the Eden. Like if you're looking at the, so the Zohar says like this, that if, in the symbolism of this, what was going on here in Gan Eden, or Gan Be'Eden, in the symbolism, it's you have to look at something like Yisrael v'Araisa v'Kudsha Brichu Chadu, like something like that. That the Eden is Ayin Le'Rasa looking. Nobody sees Hashem, yet He's the source of everything. We don't really understand HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We just know that He's the source of everything. So royally spalal, we better be davening to Him. But not like it's a difficult thing to be a Jew, because it's a difficult thing to daven to something that we completely don't get. We don't understand. At the minute you think you get it, that means you're wrong, because Ayin Le'Rasa, there's no way to get it. So this the mashal to this in this world is Eden. Eden is the source. But then, from that source, like, however you want to understand this, just physically or kabbalistically, things are coming from the Olam of Atzilus through Bria, through Yetzira, through Asiya, coming through the Arba Labais. What's happening is that there's a conduit, like a river. A river that's flowing, and it's going from that which one can never see to that which one can drink. And isn't that the way the world works? So the way the world works is that we can't see the source. But Adam, Yasam Adam B'Taych Hagan, we're in the middle of the garden. We can have hana from the fruit of the river, of the trees which are nourished by the river, which come from some place which we don't know. Isn't that life?
It's even perfectly this way in the mushal itself. If you follow a river upstream, there's something called the headwaters, but you can't see what that is. There's not like a spot. You can say, oh, there it is. It's an invisible thing where the water actually starts. That at the end is a huge river. It's almost an imperceptible spot where the
Is that
water,
right?
it collects
The
enough
mouth
to
of the river,
call
the source?
The source, the headwater, the source of the river is something which is imperceptible.
Right.
In Pekin, they said that too.
Hmm?
In Pekin, the source, they're like, we don't know where it comes from.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Water
It's
just-
an unbelievable thing there, It's all of a sudden there's water.
Right.
Yeah, all of a sudden there's water. So this is a great concept of life, of Gan Eden. Yasam B'Sa'ada B'Taych Hagan. Like, we're B'Taych Hagan. Here we are, end users. We're here. Where did all this come from? Gan Eden. Like, where did this come from? All these wonderful trees. So it came from Eden, which we don't see. No concept at all what that is. The Nahar becomes the medium, and the Gan is the fruit that we can pick and we can eat. In the Gan, there's Eitz Hadas, which we're not allowed to eat. So let's just think about it for. Look, these are the secrets of the world, which I have no concept in, but just like a little bit, we could touch it a little bit. It's just a beautiful thing. So comes the Zohar, and he says that Yisrael v'Araisa. So let's go backwards here. Yisrael is so the God users of this Bria. Like, we're here to take the Bria of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, process it, and give it to the world, make the world better. That's our purpose here in this world. Where are we getting from? What's the conduit? What's the river that's coming from HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Torah. So the Torah is, you see, because the Torah starts from a place of infinity, it ends up with, what bracha do you make on an apple? The Torah comes from not just from a high place to a low place, but from a place of total, from Eden, like no concept at all, to a very clear halacha l'maisa. Halacha means a derech asher yelchu bo. So the Torah is this river that comes from this imperceptible place to a place which you can touch and feel and eat and drink and sin with. So this is the Lashon of the Zohar right here on the pasuk. it's so matim with the words of Reish Lakish here in the Gemara Brachas Labadalad that Gam l'chud ve'edin l'chud. Don't be don't be an Amoritz and mix up. Garein. like none of us here should ever say that again. Garein. Like it's so far away. The Gan, Adam, and the Nahar. Now here's another just fascinating aside. And then where does the river go from there? It goes out to these 4 rivers, says Chazal, Zu Arba Goliyos. Well, the Babylonian exile, the Romans, the Greeks. How can it be that the same river which is coming from Eden, is coming from a place of total Ruchni, we can't even get it, comes through Gan Eden, and from Gan Eden goes through the Arba Russian. So, just the visual is clear. So here's these Arba Russian, Arba Gullius. That's ugly. That's pain. That's war. It's hunger. It's torture. This is not the water that went around Gan Eden. Umisham. And what was like? How does Eitz Das even fit into this on a very simple, like what Lefi Hasagasenu, what we could understand. So the Mefarshim say, just to read to you from Rav Kook for a second, because he says it so succinctly. Rav Kook in the Ein Ayah explains to us in his wonderful language here. Mashamar Reish Lakish. What was Reish Lakish telling us here? Tachlis hashleimus hi hayedia ba'orches hachach mel yoyna lefisha bashehi mitzad atzmo. Let's talk about shleimus. Shleimus, like let's get a good translation for shleimus. Okay, completeness. What does it mean to be complete? Wholeness. If I'm understanding that whatever is happening, it was like an incomplete, unwhole mentality. Is a person who's looking at everything right here. A whole mentality, a mentality with wholeness, is someone who's trying to understand, like a lamdan, understanding what's the source of this. And then you're not dealing just behavioristically or, like, in my opinion, you don't have to agree with this. What's the difference between a good doctor and a lousy doctor? Is there any doctors in the room here? Okay, so I can tell the truth. What's the difference? Every doctor is taught how to treat the symptom. So you have a headache, take an aspirin. Right? It's only the chacham who's going to take the time and have the patience and has the knowledge to say, but what's really going on over here? Why do you have a headache? Why aren't you sleeping? Why do you not feel good? Why are you gaining weight or losing weight or whatever your issue is? Let's look at the why, not just medicate it. So medicating it works. Quick Christian type do in this country into the computer. And, you have to even look at the person. You ever notice that? Like here, the doctor said, look at the person.
Yeah.
So why did I come?
Yeah. Yeah.
Somehow I got to swipe that card there. But like a real chacham, a real rofe, is looking at the source. So shleimus is where you're always understanding the makar of something, and if you get right down to it, where's the makar? So let's say take our worlds of Atzilus, Bria, Yitzira, Asiya. We're living in the world of Asiya, but what's the makar? The makar is the world of Atzilus. And in the world of Atzilus and Bria, everything is Echad. There's no difference. The Misham Yipared. The Alba de Piruta only starts in the world of Bria, Yitzira, and Atzilus. Everything's Hashem. Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. It's complete Achdus by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What does that mean? It means there's no good, there's no bad, there's no suffering, there's no pleasure. It's all. Or Daika, Oleg Velega. Oleg Velega. This is only in this world where that all gets sorted out that way. this hurts, this doesn't hurt. In the real world, in the olam ha'emes, there's no difference between the two. So if you're living, you have to decide. We need to decide, where do you want to live? Where are we living? Are we living in the source, or with the source, or at least with knowledge of the source, or are we living right here? Now, I think there's a difference between being a frum Jew and not a frum Jew. It's not about how long your tzitzis are. It has to do with how aware are we of the source of everything. And when you get to the sources, there are deeper sources. There are deeper sources. You can look medically into a source and say, well, it's because of what I'm eating. Or you could go even deeper and say, well, real chacham's going to ask me, yeah, but why are you eating that way? Why? What's the, there's a shalom bias problem. That's why you're eating that, right? No food around, or you're poor, or you're, so you look at the source, like that famous story of was it the Aruch HaShulchan that somebody asked him if you're allowed to, have biyotze arba kosos with milk. So he told his wife to make these people suffer. They don't have any fleishiks. Yeah. There's the idea of looking deeper into it, which is what we need to do, until you get to the point of ayin le'rasa, to the point of Eden. So says Rav Kook that Eidaya, that tachlis hashleimus hi hayidiyah ba'archas hachachma ha'yoyna. Shleimus is when you know the source of everything. B'chachmas ha'yoyna, you realize everything's been Hashem. Eden. That's much more chashuv than anything that's going to be articulated in a practical way. El hapoel is to understand where everything's coming from. Beburim shein lefanenu. Amarei shlakish, soif kol soif, kol chok hachachmi told muchreches meizem achriach. If you look at whatever you find in the world, it came from somewhere. There is a source to that river. Look for the source. If you look at the beginning of all shleimus, you're going to come down to God, or come up to God. Ultimately, you're going to come Ratzon Hashem, but not in a superficial way, in a holistic way, of which is probably the right word for shleimus, actually, the right translation, a holistic type of a way where you're actually coming to the source of everything. And you can't always explain it with chachma, because it's not something that we really even understand, but just we can know about. So you can meet a person, tzaddik, who's betachlos hashleimus, that he doesn't. You can meet a big chacham who does understand, and you can meet even a bigger chacham who doesn't need to understand. I don't need to understand. It's tachlos hashleimus. It's coming. This is the source. V'hainu ha'eden. That's what Eden means. Eden ha'amiti. So in modern Hebrew is la'adenes ha'nefesh. To give pleasure to the. But pleasure is beyond articulation. Shein tzarech tam al tachlos mitziusay. This is pleasure without reason. So comes the sefer Yitzere. So beautiful if you know the background to a paragraph in the Einayah. Sefer Yitzere, so the Lashon I said to you a few minutes. Ein lamala me'oneg, ve'ein lamata minega. So ein lamala me'oneg, we translated until now, means there's no greater pleasure than oneg. There's no worse suffering than nega. No, ein lamala. Look at it in a hierarchical type of a way. You have the world of Atzilus where we have no connection. The world of Yisiyah where we live, touch and feel. Ein lamala. You can't get higher than the world of Hashem, which is the world of Atzilus. Ein lamala himena. So ein lamala me'oneg. Eden, Nahar, God. Ein lamala mimenu, in height. Ala chachma gemura. What's chachma? What's chachma? Chachma is what we do understand. Chachma is the opposite of Eden. Chachma is what we can grasp. So you hear a lot of people say, "Look, problem with religion. I'm a scientist." Nabuch. The That means that you can only get so high and no higher. Do you know Einstein wrote? I read his biography a couple of months ago. He writes that science is the haskalah of wisdom, and the real wisdom that he's grasping is that which is ungraspable. Like to try to be mitmatzeh with that which, in other words, that was his physics. To try to grasp that which you can't grasp. There's such a thing that you can't grasp. As a scientist, he couldn't. I mean, he can only get so far scientifically. But it's a tremendous, horrible limitation to be limited to chachma, because chachma is for end users. Chachma is, but there's a huge Yetzer Hara to just grab the chachma. So which was the tree that Adam Harishon was not allowed to eat from? Das. Das is the end of chachma. Chachma bina das. How far down the chain are you going to go, Adam Harishon? You're going to grab the chachma without trying to feel back to where the whole thing came from? That was, you short-circuited the whole bria. Do you understand this? You short-circuited the whole bria. There's an Eden, there's a Nahar, there's a Gan. Eitz Hadas is the final thing. So it's good. Chachma is like, what's wrong with Chachma? Eitz Hadas. What do you do wrong? No, we all want Das. Everyone looking for Das. Of course you're looking for Das, but not to the exclusion of its source, which is no Das at all. Bittul Hadas. You see, here we are in Adar Rishon. I saw in the Svarim they say that there's a same chiyuv of simcha in Adar Rishon as there is in Adar Sheni. So it was like a litfish adin, you have to be b'simcha.
Shall we sing Kumbaya?
Simcha. So what's the ultimate? Like Mishenichnas Adar Marba b'simcha Adar Rishon. Say twice b'shem Adar Rishon, Adar Sheni, or the ultimate simcha that you get to. Adar lo yada bein or Haman l'barach Mordechai. Sound like this all year round. Until you don't know what kind of a shaita doesn't know the difference. The answer is if you're dead drunk. So you don't know the difference between Haman and Mordechai. It's the highest level of oneg, because then there's no difference between Haman and Mordechai. The highest level that you could get through, and you get it through Simcha, is when you don't know the difference between Oneg and Nega. Mordechai was Oneg, and Haman was Nega. That's where you want to get to. Bitul Hadas. Bitul Hadas. It's the opposite of the Eitz Hadas. The opposite of the Chet of eating from the Eitz Hadas. Right? Haman min ater minayin. Hamin ha'etz hazeh.
This could be the pshat in the Chazal we had just this Shabbos. Truma, the Chazal say, is Trey Meya. It's the same osios, Trey Meya. 2 and 100. The 2 trees are 2 and 100.
Oh, beautiful.
2 trees containing 2 and 100.
Mamish Rabbit.
That's
That's Rabbi Shatayr.
Be willing to not those. That's your giving.
Good. So Haman min atar minayin hamin ha'etz hazeh. Why you worried about Haman? You're worried about anti-Semites. You're worried about Amalek. You're worried about this is all on this level of min ha'etz hazeh asher amarti locha loy lechol. It's the tree that I told you not to eat from. That's what you're eating. That's what you're eating. The Haman tree. It's the Haman tree. So where do you want to get to on Purim when we see the Nes? When we see Minahapachu, everything is upside down. Upside down. You want to get to the point that El Yoinim Lamata Tachtoinim Lamalo. There's no difference between Oineg and Nega, and we're understanding that Eid Yotzei, that Nahar Yotzei Me'eden V'Hishka Es Hagan. We're understanding is shleimus, as Rav Kook calls it. That's shleimus. Shleimus is holistic. You're seeing the whole picture. You're saying the whole picture. What's the difference between Haman and Mordechai? Bittul Hadas. No difference. Milos hashleimus shel ha'eiden haina koras haruach, the pleasure, hagemura. Shein sarich imo shleimus acheres. He must speak a lakol. Kfi anira haya adam rishon koidem achet. That's where Adam Rishon was holding kodem achet, before he did the chet of the Eitz Hadas. So meduyak, right? He did the chet before he did the chet of the Eitz Hadas. He was Adam Rishon koidem achet. Adam Rishon koidem achet was all together. Ayin, Eden, Nahar, Gan, one piece. You know, it's like being at the end there is like being excited. You know, like if you get a new checkbook in the mail from, you know, well, good as the checkbook. You know, there's nothing to cover it. It's not about the checkbook. That's just the final articulation. So you're going to steal the check. Like you need the check needs to be a vehicle from there to the place of what. Kfi anira hayadam rishon koidem hachet zois hamala sherei samehu Hashem yisparach began Eden muchan l'shleimus oinig hashalom. He was supposed to be the end user of the whole system coming from the river. Remember, by the way, that Yisrael down here, Oiraisa is the tube, the conduit, the river. V'kut shabrichu chadhu. That's shleimus chadhu. It could all be one if you do it right. Amar shaloi kain hu adam rishon rak began. Comes Rish Lakish and he says, unfortunately, Eden lachud, vegan lachud, not just pshat haven. How do you understand it? Adam Rishon was machalik between my house, the Gan, this is where I live, and where that river was coming from. The intelligent person is asking, where's the river coming from? And how do you know this? He ate from the tree, the fruit. He ate from the Eitz Hadas. He told them, it all comes from Ratzon Hashem. That's where it all comes from. Because here's every line here is underlinable. Because what's the makar of Chachma? Ratzon. It's easier to understand Chachma than it is to understand Ratzon. Chachma is like what it says, Ratzon Hashem. That's a different amorphous, esoteric item, Ratzon Hashem. So he was dealing on the Chachma level. They couldn't get to the place where we were supposed to get to. Al-Kain Haya Adam Began, V'Shem HaTomer Shehu Derech Eretz Im HaShleimus Shel HaRatzon HaShalom Mitzad Atzmai Harei Kasav V'Nahar Yotzei Me'edin LaHashkenas Hagan. Im Kain, here's our key, Hagan who, I'm over time, Hagan who told us Shlishis LeEden. The Gan is the third level of Eden. Ki Oineg Hagan hu ha'oineg hanimshach mitzad sidur pulos techachma elyon. Ve'Eden hu ha'oineg hanimshach mitzad ha'yidiyah b'shleimus ratzon elyon. Shu niska mikol chachma, higher than all chachma, sibas kol sidur egyoni, u'nala behechlet mikol sidur. Ad she'ein yad ha'nevuah magasham. Even nevuah can't get to Eden. But we can all get to chachma. Science, the science. So, okay, so what I wanted to say over here is that there's a reference here, which is not worth going over without understanding, to the idea of oneg and nega, and he says it 3 times in this Hakdama. I noticed that to the Nefesh Hachaim, to Reb Chaim Volozhin, the reason he was zocheh to Torah and what he was zocheh to is because oneg and nega were the same to him. So this is the kavanah of when we daven and we say, in Elakaim, Nitzar L'Shani Meirah, which is also Gemara in Brachos, Nitzar L'Shani Meirah, Svasayim Davar Mirma, but Nafshi Ka'afar, tells Rav, I think, Nafshi Ka'afar L'Kol Tiyeh. Like that's a tefillah, that my nefesh should be like Afar. So Afar is the makabel from, right, water falls onto it, and it doesn't know from good water, bad water. The offer is that which is being nourished. So our kavanah is that what we're saying, Elikai neshama, Elikai netzar rather, What we're saying is that hook me into the higher source and let me be the offer, which is the makabel. That's the kavanah here. Let me be makabel from a bigger world, from Eden, like Adam Arishan did, and not just chap, the bottom side of the Eitz Hadas. We've got to undo that and go back to the beginning, and hence you have no difference between oneg and nega. Oneg ein lamalo imeno, nega ein lamato imeno. Just want to just allude to the fact, because I don't know if we have time to go back over it, is that once something gets into Pirud, so the Pirud goes all the way to the four rivers, to the Arba Golias. Meaning, like how far, like where do you catch this? Do you catch it in the Gan, Eden, Nahar, Gan? Or if you let it go, so then the period becomes more and more.
How do you put
You
it
go
back?
from Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, where everything makes sense, to Golos, where nothing makes sense. So your nega gets more and more and more as the period goes on. So I just want to just give you a machshava to think about, is that's the shot in the Arba Roshim, which is the four rivers. And take a look where the Golos is happening now, by the way. Interesting, right? Isn't that where it's all? That's where the action is, right here by the Tigris and the Euphrates. This is what's going on over here, and that's Ruchnius gone awry in the name of Hashem. No,
Unbelievable.
the name of Hashem. Okay, thank you.
I always wanted to know what that meant.